Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Satch Talks on YouTube. In today's episode, I'm going to be reviewing our trip to Athens as City secure a brand new trophy, a Super Cup, as we defeat Sevilla on penalties. I'm going to be reviewing our home game against Newcastle. Some impressive displays from Phil Foden in the absence of Kevin De Bruyne. And I'm also going to be looking ahead to Sheffield United away, which I do feel like could be a very interesting game. So we're going to get into it, put some meat on the bones. Earlier on today, I did film a podcast on my own, just reviewing everything I'm talking about now. But if you want to check that out, it's more in depth. But these videos are a little like bite-sized chunk for those who want to listen to a podcast but don't have time to listen to all of it. You can watch this. You get to see my face as well whilst I'm talking and discussing everything. So yeah, I appreciate all your support. Do go check out the Spotify. It does massively help. Leave a 5-star rating review. Massively helps. Make sure to like and subscribe on this as well, and share to all your City pages, all your friends, your family. It does help a lot, believe it or not. But regarding last week with the Super Cup, what a trip that was. Because in case you don't know, I went over for the Super Cup. I loved every bit of it. Everybody was accommodating, all the locals. Good food. Even better beer, which is always a plus, you know. Only thing I've got to criticise is the weather. It was absolutely boiling, which I think many people will agree with, you know, but I think this time of year it's expected. I do think it had a bit of a hindrance on the players, I won't lie, playing at 10 o'clock local time over in Athens, and it's still being like 35 degrees. It will have an impact of some sort on the players, you know. But we still got the job done, you know, and even if it was on penalties, I don't care, because I got to see City win a European Cup. Overall, I didn't think the performance was great, you know, like it wasn't one of our best performances. I feel like Sevilla, they set up very old-fashioned, you know. Although they've got an Asian team, they knew where to get us, and they knew where our Achilles heel was. They knew how to target Walker, and they knew where to catch us off guard, which I was quite impressed with, I won't lie. But I do feel like we've implemented it and used that going forward for what they were trying to expose, and used it in the game against Newcastle. I was really impressed with Josko Gvardiol on Wednesday, and also on Saturday, which I'm gonna get onto. But there's nothing really you can criticise, you know. Kevin De Bruyne being out means everybody else has got to step up and kind of bring everything to the table, you know. I mentioned in the podcast today, Phil Foden is really starting to come into his own. If he hadn't already, he is now, you know. You can really see him taking on this role and really making it his own, you know. And people have said that he's always been a drifter, but I think we could see on Saturday against Newcastle and midweek against Sevilla, his creative play is unreal, you know. Really, really struggle to find something bad to say about him. But overall, really impressed with our performance, like the result that is. Because like I said, it wasn't one of our best performances. It wasn't a great performance. We got the result. I didn't think we was going to win it, actually, midweek in Athens. Because it was just one of those games, you know, where we was having so many chances towards the end of the second half, or near to the end. But it was that one lucky goal from Cole Palmer, who I really hope we keep, because although we're bringing in a few signings such as Jeremy Doku, I do feel like Cole has really shown and proven to us that he is good enough to play for City. Scoring in the Community Shield, albeit it's a friendly, but scoring the goal to make it level in a Super Cup final is massive, you know. I hope he gets a lot more starts. I like him a lot. I think he's great. But overall, I'm very happy. I've seen a lot of people saying City are celebrating a friendly cup. It's not friendly because, to me, to get to a UEFA Super Cup, you have to win the Champions League. It's the Cup Winners' Cup. So, for me, this is something I took very seriously, and a lot of Blues did. A lot of people I spoke to were taking it very seriously and quite excited about it and the prospects of potentially winning a new trophy, which we did. But you compare the Community Shield to this, Arsenal didn't earn the right to compete in that Community Shield. They got invited, because we won all the trophies. And then they had to play because we can't play against ourselves. But overall, you can't complain. There's nothing to really moan about. I think the signings are going to be a huge advantage because I think Rodri is going to be getting a bit overused. We saw it to the back end of last season, but he was really starting to get tired. So I feel like Kovacic is going to be key. Foden taking on this new role as well is going to help out a lot. And I heard today that City are going to be making a few more signings, potentially another midfielder. But we have definitely put pen to paper with Jeremy Doku. A signing I'm very excited about because he's a Belgium international. He's used to playing with Kevin De Bruyne. I've watched a lot of him play recently, and I can say he is going to cook under Pep. I'm fully confident of that. Every player he's brought in has done well, albeit a few. I'm looking forward to it, because it's another player to integrate into our system and to our style of play. New ways to supply for Erling, new ways of breaking down teams, But I was really impressed with our performance on Saturday because many were labelling it as City's first big challenge this season. But I've got to give it to Newcastle. They played well, but I just feel like we were too good. I feel like we could have scored more, but I think that was down to Haaland. I don't like putting the point of the finger at anyone, but I don't think it was his day. He didn't have his finishing and shooting boots on. It's fair enough. Good strikers, the best strikers in the world have that, His day will come. I'm probably certain it will be on Sunday against Sheffield United. But in regards to the actual game itself, I feel City took control very well, which is expected when we play at home because it's become a fortress now. I know that sounds very cliche, but it really has. It seems like whenever we play there, our people, our supporters, our fans, we just turn it into a massive fortress and a place for the opposition players and fans where they almost get intimidated by us. You hear about the San Siro, you hear about the Santiago Bernabeu, the Camp Nou. The Etihad is on that list now, We turned this place into a cauldron of supporters and a cauldron of City, and we drown out any opposition fans with our voice to bring on and cheer on our team. It was unreal Saturday, our support. You can't fault it. You got to applaud it, every bit of that game, the City fans were up for it and giving it to the Newcastle fans like we should, and screaming it from the rooftops that we're treble winners, and we've done it 3 years in a row, 3 seasons in a row, the Premier League, soon to be 4. Loving it, other than it, loving life, really have nothing to complain about. Overall, the Newcastle game, like I said, very impressed. Foden, I feel like, is the rightful recipient of a man of the match, because I struggle to see anyone else, obviously, other than Alvarez, who could claim that. But Foden at the minute, I feel like he's got to be getting the starts week in, week out. Every game, you got to be starting Phil Foden because we got to strike while the iron's hot. he's really starting to come into his own, and he's really playing immensely. So more of this to come, hopefully, because when Phil Foden is playing well, we are doing exceptionally well, you know. But I'm going to look ahead to Sheffield United. I feel like they could pose us some issues. They have done before. Obviously they know Walker quite well, but I feel like they know how to get us on the counter attacks, which what I think we got to watch out for. But I don't think they'll have too much to beat us. I think we'll win comfortably. I don't think it'll be an easy win, but I do think we'll beat them. I'm not sure by how much, and I don't want to say by how much, but I do definitely think we can expect to see Foden play in the same role and have the same effect on the game as he did last Saturday. Obviously, we've had a week now to rest up from Newcastle, and then we'll have another week until Fulham at home. So it's this stage of a season where the players are able to refresh, revitalise and get ready to go again for the week ahead. But looking around at all the other competition, now's not the time, because I've heard a lot of people on Twitter and everywhere else saying, United are losing, Arsenal aren't looking great, but they're still winning. Now's not the time to judge, leagues aren't decided in August, we just got to see, we got to keep winning our games, keep doing what we do, because we're Manchester City. But Jeremy Doku, very impressed. It's another class signing by City. We've had a very successful transfer window so far, I think. Mateo Kovacic, Josko Gvardiol and Jeremy Doku, and potentially another midfielder coming in. So I couldn't be happier. What a time to be alive, to be a Blue. But I also want to touch on the Calvin Phillips situation. I've heard recently that City want to explore the option of potentially either loaning him out to a European side abroad, or potentially selling him to Liverpool. Now, it's kind of a two-sided coin here, and it's one of those, because I don't want to sell him to a direct rival, but I do want him to progress. I want him to play well. I want him to get the minutes, because you can see he's a nice lad and he's striving to play more. But I honestly don't think he's going to get that at City. So I want him to play elsewhere, but if it means him going to Liverpool, I'd rather him go abroad and get some minutes under his belt and potentially come back to City a more well-rounded player, which I do think City would explore the option of doing, because they don't want to strengthen Liverpool even more to end up potentially spiking ourselves in the face. But I do feel like if Liverpool would come up with a reasonable offer and a more lucrative deal, I do feel like City would probably consider it. But we know what their transfer negotiations are like, and I personally don't think that if City are setting a price and Liverpool aren't really putting in a deal that we're expecting, we won't sell, because we know the potential it could cause for us. But again, it's a shame, because Calvin Phillips is an incredible player. He was class for Leeds. He was really good in the Euros, which is what I feel like City based the signing off of, the Euros, and as well his play in the Leeds side to keep them up and to keep them safe for so many times. But when it comes to City, I just don't feel like he can make the grain. It's hard for me to say that, because I do really like him, and I hate saying stuff like that about players, because he is one of our player. He is a player of ours. Like, he is a City player. I hate talking derogatory of any player, because it's not fair. But I will be honest, I don't feel like he's making the grain as it stands to be a City player. I feel like it was a shop window signing. We saw him play well in the Euros, and we went ahead to proceed and sign him, which I feel like we shouldn't have done, because whilst I agree it's squad rotation and it's squad depth for when either Rodri or De Bruyne or Kovacic potentially get injured, it's also another paycheck we're having to pay, who isn't really going to likely get any minutes. So for him personally, like as a career footballing decision, I would personally push for a move, but I can see how hungry he is to strive to do better and to become a first team regular at City. But personally, with how good our midfield is and how good we are at the minute, I just struggle to see Calvin Phillips slotting in anytime soon. That's not me being horrible. That's not me being personal against him. It's just what I can see and what I've seen for the last season, that he is at the minute not good enough to be a City player. But with that said, I'm gonna end it here. Had a class week following City over in Athens. Obviously up at watching City against Newcastle, beating him 1-0. It's been a class week. Picked up a Super Cup, beat Newcastle, and we got the Champions League draw next week, so we can start eyeing up some more European aways. But this has been Satch Talks on YouTube. Please be sure to leave a like and a comment, and please be sure to subscribe, share with your friends and family, all to your City content pages and all your fan pages you're involved in, because it does massively help. Go check out the Spotify account, because I have recently done an episode today which is a bit more in depth, but please be sure, if you're on the Spotify, to leave a 5-star rating review, because that does massively help as well. But until then, this is Satch Talks. Thank you very much for listening. MCFC, okay.